It's 2024. There are a lot of people making a lot of money online, but there's even more people who are trying to make money online and they're failing. And there's a million reasons why people fail, but some reasons are more detrimental than others. I want to talk about one that is very, very prevalent. A lot of people fall in this category, myself even at one point, and there's something called opportunity cost and phantom costs. Let me explain this real quick. A lot of people are scared to invest in themselves and learning how to find ways, learn strategies, change their way of decision making in order to make more money. They say that they can't invest in themselves because they don't have enough money to. Well, those people need the most help because those people cannot afford not to get the help. If you're stuck in a situation where you're in debt, you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're the person that needs it the most, but they can't get over the fact that they're so far in debt. So instead they want to stay that way and they want to move incrementally towards getting out of that. And I totally understand it. I see how it's emotional and I see how it's difficult to want to spend even more money when you've already spent a ton of money. It's hard to live in this situation and it's hard to build a business in this situation. Opportunity cost is a huge thing and it's one of the biggest costs that you could possibly ever imagine, but it's not as blatantly obvious. So a lot of people are paying this, but they don't realize it. If you want to make $1 million and you're making 50 grand right now, it's costing you $950,000 not knowing how to make $1 million. This isn't going to make sense to a 9-to-5er or somebody who's just can't wrap their mind around this because they live paycheck to paycheck. But this is truly, truly one of the biggest costs, is not knowing, is your ignorance towards your ability and the ignorance towards what's possible if you had the right knowledge. I'll demonstrate by telling you a story about myself and how I've paid for this a lot. So I've always wanted to be a musician. I've always loved music, been very into music since I was a little kid, but I could not figure out a way to monetize my music. I tried so many different things on my own. I tried uploading on YouTube, I tried selling beats, I tried doing this, I tried doing that. And I constantly would get excited every time a new opportunity came. And then I would fall flat on my face and then I would give up and I wouldn't know how to overcome those hurdles. So then I would start over and look for another opportunity and start building from there. So each time that I got momentum, it got hard, I gave up, started over. Same thing over and over. So if you constantly go through the cycle, you're losing time, which is the most precious asset. And I know a lot of people say this, and I know a lot of people understand this to a degree, but they don't take it seriously. I spent 10 years trying to figure it all out. Falling on my face, not getting anywhere. And I was stubborn. I didn't want to get help. I felt like I didn't need mentors because all the information is out there. It's all on YouTube, right? So if all the information is out there, then why aren't we in a certain place that we know we want to be if information was the only thing that we needed? So I was stubborn. I kept doing it over and over, falling on my face. And then finally, at one point in my life, I had gotten a job that was actually, sustained me pretty well. I had my daughter. I'd just gotten a house and my backup was up against the wall essentially. And I was like, look, I have one more chance to give this music thing a go. And if I don't figure it out, then I just need to admit that it's forever a hobby. So I decided that finally I've tried it alone long enough and I decided to get a mentor. I jumped on the phone with my mentor and I had like $1,000 to my name. I was like, I got $1,000. I am ready to go because I figured that's how much it costs. Just my pure ignorance. I just didn't know what the value of coaching actually was. When we got to the end of that conversation, they were like, it's $10,000. And my jaw just dropped. And I was like, I know I really need this, but I only have $1,000. Like, how am I going to make this happen? So I had to ask myself two things. And not a lot of people analyze this. There's a cost to taking action. In this case, it was $10,000, which was a lot of money at the time. And then there was another cost that nobody ever looks at, and that's the cost of inaction. That's the opportunity cost. That's the phantom cost. If I didn't spend $10,000, what was the alternative? I would work a job that I didn't like for the rest of my life until I was 65. And when I'm 65, I'm too old to truly enjoy my life. And by the time I'm 65, inflation would have astronomically gone up very, very high. And so I'd be living off of my savings and my 401k and my pension or whatever, and I'd be living scarcely because I'm just living straight off of the savings that I'm making from a job that doesn't pay me a whole lot of money. That was the cost if I didn't do it. And so I had to figure out a way. I got resourceful and I went out and I got a loan, borrowed money from my family, took out all my money from my savings, and I had my back up against the wall in a different way. I had to make it happen because it was so much money and I had so much on the line that I could not just fail. That was not an option. I had to do everything the coach said. I had to do all the uncomfortable moves. I had to launch a live webinar, which I've never done before. I did all this stuff, right? And my life completely changed. I quit my job 5 months later, and now I'm in this position making videos and stuff like this, and I'm able to live and be my own boss, have all the freedom, dictate what I do with my time, make more money than I've ever had. And that's all because I took one risk that set me up to be able to get more mentors, to learn more quickly. Shortcuts. Mentors are the cheat code. How do you learn something that you know nothing about? How do you teach yourself that? It's so much easier to just pay somebody, have them teach you so that you can learn the skill set at a massively accelerated speed, because if they've been failing for 10 years, you learn from their 10 years of mistakes and you don't have to make it yourself. So you can learn from mistakes, but you can learn from others' mistakes. And that is way more valuable than learning from your own mistakes. So this is the cost, right? I say all this to say, if I didn't spend that 10K and I didn't look at the opportunity cost, I would have made that one wrong decision and I would still be in that 9 to 5 today, and I wouldn't be in this position speaking to you guys. So that's something that people don't see. They look at help and they look at coaching programs and they look at mentors and they're like, I can't afford that. The truth is you can't afford not to do it, because this is what it's going to cost you. If you keep trying to do it on your own and you keep failing and you don't have any guidance, you're going to lose all that time. Not only do you lose that time, but imagine if you spent that entire time knowing what to do because you got the help from somebody else. You could have spent that time growing your business and getting much further than if you were trying to figure it out. If I hired a coach instead of spending 10 years of trying to figure it out, and I just hired one in the beginning, I would be 10 years way further in my business than I am today, and I still cannot get that back. So what do I have to do to compensate? I have to hire as many coaches as possible. Now that I realize it's the cheat code and only 1% of people understand this, the rest of them think it's a scam. I have to hire as many coaches as possible, and I have to make up for that time because I can't get that time back. Imagine if I would have spent that 10 years growing my business instead of trying to figure out how to just get it off the ground. I'd be 10 years ahead. I would be so much further in my business today, and I cannot get that back, and I regret that, and that is the cost of opportunity, and that is a phantom cost because we don't see it. It's not tangible. You don't owe it, but you are paying it. I paid for 10 years. My first year when I hired a coach, I made 100 grand. If you just minimal 100 grand times that by 10, how much is that? That's $1 million that I lost because I decided I wanted to figure it out on my own, right? And so this is just my story, and this is what I truly believe, very much so deep down to my core, to like where I've completely changed my life. I've completely changed my action. I've completely changed the way that I think about mentors, learning, costs. This is what people don't understand. And I want to put this message out there because I want to speak to that 1% that truly, truly understand it. 90% of people are going to look at this and be like, no, it's just a ripoff. It's a scam. He's just, whatever. I don't care. Those people are going to be those people regardless. We need people to pump our gas. We need people to work at grocery stores. We need those people anyway, so you guys can stay in that situation. I want to speak to the 1% of people that I know I could change and could have a life-changing moment from a message like this. Because if you continue doing it by yourself and you keep doing something that doesn't work over and over and over, it doesn't matter how many times you do it, it's still going to be wrong and it's going to drive you in the wrong direction. And all that's going to happen is you're going to get more discouraged. You're going to say it doesn't work. At one point, you might burn out and give up. And that's the worst thing that you could do. So get the help if you can, because it's the cheat code. Imagine if you're trying to figure out just learning how to get your own business off the ground, and then your competition already hired somebody. They already figured that out. Next thing, they're focused on their health. They're already figuring that out while you're gaining weight. Next thing, they're working on their mindset. Next thing, they're working on their spirituality. They've hired a coach for every aspect of their life while you're sitting over here trying to figure it out. You think that doesn't cost anything? You think that doesn't cost more than 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever your mentor is asking for just to learn it? Imagine if you solved that problem and you solved the problem of learning how to make money, and you could make money for the rest of your life. You had the skill set. If everything fell apart, you could rebuild it. That's very valuable to a small amount of people. A large amount of people aren't going to see that. But again, that's who I'm speaking to. So hopefully this message helps. I just want to put it out there, and whoever benefits from it, then that's great. You know, if you have a coaching business, if you teach music, you teach any creative skill online, there's ways that you can make money without trading your time with one-on-ones and selling hourly rates and being tied to having to show up and all this stuff. It's 2024. There's so much automation. AI is just starting up. There's so many things that you can take advantage of to make money without you have to physically be there and trading your time for money. If you want to learn how to do some of this stuff, I'm going to leave a link down below so that you can book a call with me, and I'd love to hear more about your business and see if I can help you. And if I can't, then I'll explain that too, because everything I do is by invite only. I don't let just anybody into my program. It's a very closed circle. So you have to be a good fit, obviously, and you have to be one of these go-getters and one of these people that truly resonate with this message and not the other 90% of people, because I'm not going to let them in. So regardless, I hope this was helpful. If it was and you like this kind of stuff, please subscribe, like, and share it with a friend that you think would benefit from this.